The president invited the press into the meeting where he went around the table and instructed each and every one of his cabinet secretaries to provide an honest update about what they are doing at their respective agencies. And every cabinet secretary is a rock star. They are passionate about the issues they are leading on, and they are delivering on exactly what President Trump called upon them to do. There is so much good news flowing out of this administration every day. It's definitely hard for the media to keep up with. They don't know how to cover this administration. They are grasping at straws, and it's easy to talk to the press every day because President Trump is doing exactly what he promised the American people he would do, and there are wins after wins after wins every single week at this White House. And we saw those wins this week, Sean, not just...
I'm joined now by Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. Secretary Lutnick, thank you for being with us this morning. I really appreciate your time. So let's start with that news.
It's my pleasure.
Let's start with that news late Friday, this exemption on electronics, smartphones, laptop computers, and the like. What's the thinking? Why the exemption?
Well, if you remember, over the past couple of months, President Trump has called out pharmaceuticals and semiconductors and autos. He called them sector tariffs, and those are not available for negotiation. They are just going to be part of making sure we reshore the core national security items that need to be made in this country. We need to make medicine in this country. We learned it during COVID. We need to make it in this country. We need to make semiconductors, because if we don't own semiconductors here, remember, virtually all semiconductors are made now in Taiwan and they're finished in China. It's important that we reshore them. And so the president is going to come out with his policies on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. They're going to be outside the reciprocal tariffs. And he was just making sure everyone understood that all of these products are outside the reciprocal tariffs, and they are going to have their own separate way of being considered.
But wait a minute. I'm asking you about the exemption, not about, I mean, the notice that went out Friday night saying that electronics, a wide range of electronics, including smartphones, including components used to make microchips, that these are now exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. Why that move?
Well, remember, those products are going to be part of the semiconductor sectoral tariffs, which are coming. So you're going to see this week there'll be a register in the Federal Registry. There'll be a notice put out. That is different types of work. So we're going to do that. We did that in autos. The president's going to do it for pharmaceuticals, and he's going to do it for semiconductors. So all those products are going to come under semiconductors, and they're going to have a special focused type of tariff to make sure that those products get reshored. We need to have semiconductors. We need to have chips, and we need to have flat panels. We need to have these things made in America. We can't be reliant on Southeast Asia for all of the things that operate for us. So what he's doing is he's saying they're exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in probably a month or two. So these are coming soon. You shouldn't think this is really outside of it. Really think of it as being included in the semiconductor space, much like pharmaceuticals. These require special attention, and the president is on it.
So you're saying that the big tariffs on things like smartphones and laptops, iPhones, all those iPhones built in China, that those tariffs are temporarily off, but they're going to be coming right back on in another form in a month or so? Or what are you saying?
Correct. That's right. That's right. Semiconductors and pharmaceuticals will have a tariff model in order to encourage them to reshore, to be built in America. We need our medicines, and we need semiconductors and our electronics to be built in America. We can't be beholden and rely upon foreign countries for fundamental things that we need. We can't be relying on China for fundamental things that we need. Our medicines and our semiconductors need to be built in America. Donald Trump is on it. He's calling that out. So you should understand these are included in the semiconductor tariffs that are coming and the pharmaceuticals are coming. Those two areas are coming in the next month or two. So this is not like a permanent sort of exemption. He's just clarifying that these are not available to be negotiated away by countries. These are things that are national security that we need to be made in America.
All right, Trips, are you ready for the latest episode of Tariff Wars, the Clueless Chronicles? President Trump has once again taken centre stage, this time announcing tariffs that are as clear as a foggy day in San Francisco. We have a full moon here as well. This time it's 145% tariff on Chinese imports, but wait, there's a plot twist. Smartphones, laptops and other electronics are exempt. It's like declaring a diet and then saying, well, cake doesn't count, nor the French fries, or Big Macs, or milkshakes. Trump's approach to trade negotiations seems inspired by a game of Monopoly played after a few too many drinks, even though he's teetotal. He slaps tariffs on everything, then backtracks faster than a cat caught in the rain. It's the art of the deal, reimagined. Make a bold move, realise it's a bad idea, and then pretend it was all part of the plan. That's exactly what's going on. I know. Exemption here, exemption there. The exemptions list reads like a tech company's inventory. Smartphones, laptops, semiconductors, and more. It's almost as if someone whispered, "Sir." That's what he says. These are the things Americans actually buy. So in a masterstroke of economic strategy, not really, Trump decides to tax everything except the things people want. I don't know. It's... anyway, in the spirit of Trump's imaginative policies, should we propose some new trade deals? Pay attention, Howard Lutnick. Pay attention, Peter Navarro. We'll start with the air tariff, taxing the air imported from other countries. After all, foreign air might be stealing jobs from American oxygen. How about the sunshine tax, charging countries for the sunlight that crosses borders? I mean, come on, it's time the sun pays its fair share. You think this is ridiculous? There's more. The gravity levy, imposing tariffs on gravity for keeping foreign products grounded in the US. Sounds really ridiculous, doesn't it? Have you seen Fox News or any of the garbage that Elon's coming out with? Because, I mean, Fox News, ever the loyal cheerleading sycophants, well, they're hailing these tariffs as a genius move. Meanwhile, Musk X's or tweets about launching the tariff-free Mars colony somewhere up there, because even he probably needs an escape plan. Yeah, where were the Democrats? Well, Bernie Sanders is rocked up to Coachella. I think they're just watching this unfold like a reality TV show, and it is a reality TV show. They've just got popcorn in their hands, and they're thinking, we don't need to campaign. We'll just let this circus continue. It's downselling itself, really. I mean, it's just like, who knows what's going to happen next? In conclusion, Trump's latest tariff announcement is a masterclass in confusion. It's a policy that taxes everything except what's important. Exempts the essentials and leaves everyone just, well, I'm scratching my head. But I suppose, hey, in the world of Trump, that's just another day at the office. But I have a suggestion for Navarro, for Lutnick. Why don't they tax confusion? That appears to be the currency that live it, and all of them just push out there every day. They're overdosing on confusion, so maybe that's where the next tariff should head.
All right, this is new as of this morning. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has confirmed to NBC News that the administration has moved to exempt cell phones, computers, semiconductor chips, and a host of other electronics from Donald Trump's tariffs. Joining me now is my friend and colleague Stephanie Ruhle, host of the 11th hour here on MSNBC, NBC's senior business analyst, and we were on TV last night talking about this stuff. But this is new, Stephanie. What's going on?
This is huge. So just imagine all the big electronics that we get that's manufactured in China, right? Chips, semiconductors, TVs, cell phones, all the big electronics out there are now going to be tariff-free. I mean, Allie, this is extraordinary. It's kind of like saying we're going to impose 100+% tariffs on everything we buy from China, except for what we actually buy from them. It's sort of crazy because we haven't even started negotiating, this trade war, and already we're making this announcement. So we'll give sort of it's mind-blowing in that in the last week, what have we done? The president announced the moves on tariffs. We saw the stock market crater. We saw the bond market get whacked, which is the most concerning because it means people don't have faith in the U.S. We saw consumer confidence absolutely crater, and businesses, big and small, fall into an absolute panic given what an enormous trading partner China is, but also countries around the world. But focusing just on China, man, if you are Tim Cook or the other big tech CEOs who gave big and went to Trump's inauguration, you are glad you did that now. The lobbying efforts from the tech industry have certainly paid off. And remember, it was just a few days ago. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said we're going to be screwing in those iPhones in U.S. Factories. Howard Lutnick said, and Caroline Leavitt said, there will not be exemptions. Now, last night, the president, just before he got on the plane headed to Florida, said, well, looking at exemptions now. But this is extraordinary. And without being sassy, sort of the first thing I saw when I went online was art of the deal. Yes. Sounds more like art of capitulation.
Yeah, we were literally on TV together 12 hours ago, and we were talking about how Caroline Leavitt said, trust the president, and this is the art of the deal and all this stuff. What's the deal? Where are the Chinese in this? What part did they capitulate to exactly here? I mean, I'm really glad that I'm not going to pay $3,000 for my iPhone, but where's the deal?
Okay, so that's really important. For U.S. consumers out there, really good news. When you think about all the electronics we use in our day-to-day lives, it just, the biggest problem is, Allie, the question is, what in the world is our position? Right? If the goal was let's onshore all of our manufacturing, we're so mad about the unfair trade practices. But here's, and again, we have limited information, but while the White House announced that they're going to be dropping these tariffs, you would think if we were getting anything in return from China, they would be announcing that too. They would be leading with that. But we didn't hear that. But from a trade perspective, here's the thing that's sticking with me. I'm thinking so much about small businesses. I'm thinking about apparel manufacturers, because if China is going to get to go tariff-free on some of their higher, more advanced exports, technology, right, what a win. And their lower things that they make way less money on, apparel, they don't really, it matters less to them.
We're not looking for more sock factories in America.
I mean, what's your take, buddy?
No, my take is that this whole deal has come unraveled all week. You made the point last week. You have a segment on your show called Who Won the Week, and you talked about the bond market, because the international, like the sovereign wealth funds and the big countries basically told America the thing that they've never told America before: I'm not seeking safety in your dollar and your bonds because you're an unstable bunch of nuts.
I think that's the most important thing, because you have to look at this in two ways, right? Consumers and businesses in the United States are breathing a huge sigh of relief right now, Allie. They are so grateful because, yes, we do not want to pay $3,000 for our iPhones. We do not want that kind of disruption here. But on the other, the United States being the world superpower, being the country with a rule of law that we respect, 3 separate but equal branches of government, policies that we understand, and being an honest broker and trading partner, we're seeing that brand value that it takes decades and decades to build start to get wiped out in a week. And the fact that you are seeing people pull out of U.S. treasuries, right, and sell bonds, that's what's so alarming. And if you're going, 70, I don't invest in treasuries, what do I care? Right. Here's why you care. Because when we have to refinance our U.S. debt, that gets more and more expensive when you see bond yields on treasuries go up. And that's exactly what's happening. And that's a huge amount of money and a huge cost to this country.
If you're going to refinance your mortgage.
Straight question. Are you confused? Comment section now. Have you had enough? Comment section now. Are you tired? I think it's a deliberate policy to put as much chaos out there just so people think, you know what, I don't want politics today. I've had enough. Let them get on with it. Because if you try and keep up with the pace of the nonsense, the BS, the lies, the garbage, you get all over the place. And They're playing a great game at the moment. You've got to give it the administration. What's that comedian? Bill Maher, whatever, rocks up to the White House, used as a prop, I should point out. And that's how the administration has got at the moment. Your former, should we call them liberals? And now, like, welcome to the White House, because it's like there's just no checking going on. They can say what they like, and it appears to be nobody is coming up to say anything against them.
And I got to say, saying, well, I will continue to make those decisions, and I'm going to hold off on these tariffs for 90 days. That doesn't put the economy in a better place. That doesn't put investors in a better place. Congress has a job right now, and that is to step up and take this authority away from Donald Trump. He has proven how he will use it, but remember, the statute that he's now using starts with a declaration of emergency. And in that same statute, Congress has the responsibility to decide, is it really an emergency or not? Are we really in an emergency with Belgium right now? Are we really in an emergency with South Korea? Congress can say, no, there's no emergency. It's a resolution. And if we do that, it takes Donald Trump back to the trade as we had it before. And tariffs are then decided with Congress having an important say in it.
Now, on the trade policy, the whole point of the trade policy is to address the national emergency that we're too dependent on foreign products in the U.S., especially if we were at a time of conflict, and we're doing something about that. And the Reciprocal Act was basically, guys, if you come to the table and negotiate with us and treat us the same way we treat you, then we'll get your rate really low. And so right now, 130 countries have responded, and we're negotiating with them, and they've got their rate down to 10%. And so really, it's kind of almost a two-world system. There's a process about China, and that's very, very nascent, if at all, and then the process for everybody else. So the process for everybody else is orderly, it's clear, people are coming to town with great offers. We've got Japan, Korea, India. I was just talking to the foreign minister of India, and everything is moving forward very quickly.
So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up, and anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs? Which of his Mar-a-Lago friends or his billionaire advisors were able to capitalize on that inside information? Why did Trump send out that post to his supporters earlier in the day? The bottom line is that the chaotic nature of this tariff policy, with Trump's position changing every single hour, gives ample opportunity for any individual who has early access to information about the White House's change in position to make boatloads of money, either by investing at the right time or pulling their money out of the market at the right time. This entire White House is one giant grift. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks, and we should get to the bottom of it.
Listen, the math ain't mathin'. It's certainly not working for ordinary families. These tariffs, again, this is a tax. This is the president jacking up the price for every single thing that you have to buy, which we know disproportionately and negatively impacts families, middle class families, working class families. At the same time, he's trying to pass a huge tax cut to his wealthy friends, the wealthy and the well-connected. I think it's backwards. It's Robin Hood in reverse. It's robbing from the poor in order to pay the rich. Meanwhile, it is creating a huge hole in the national debt. So the irony of this moment is that they are literally trying to take Medicaid from families, from poor people, most of whom are children, and then saddle our children with a debt generations from now that is created by those whose priorities are all mixed up. We need a revolution in values, is what Dr. King called it. We need